and welcome to Vera's Recorder channel. Today I would like to present you a very special recorder, a voice flute. In French it's Flute de voix. And this recorder looks like a tenor recorder, but it's not exactly the same. Here you see a soprano and here you see some altos, and this is the voice flute, and here I have a normal tenor, let's say, but it has this shape because it was for kids. But it's not exactly the same because the voice flute is tuned in D. Its lowest note is a D, whereas the lowest note of a tenor recorder is the C, of course. But why is it called voice flute? It's near to the human voice. It has a very warm and full sound. And I told you that its lowest note is a D. It sounds like this. And it's usually used to play many beautiful pieces like Telemann Fantasias. Or pieces by Bach. And especially a lot of French Baroque music. But let's come back to the pitch of the flute, of the recorder. Its lowest note is a D, and the lowest note of the tenor recorder is a C. But as you can hear, the difference is only half a tone, a half tone. That's because the pitch of this recorder, of the voice flute, is 415 Hertz, and the normal modern tenor recorder is in 440 Hertz. Like all the modern instruments, our modern orchestras have a pitch of 440 Hertz or even a bit higher, and the Baroque voice flute, like this one, is normally built in 415 Hertz. What does that mean? That means that the pitch of this recorder is a half tone lower than we are used to. I can show you this on the alto recorders. So, these are all alto recorders. These ones are in a pitch of A is 440 Hertz, like the modern tuning, and these are in 415 Hertz. So that's half a tone lower than the other ones, but the difference in sound is dramatic, I would say. I can show you a high alto recorder, let's say a modern one, and a Baroque one, and then you will hear the difference. So it's not only lower, the Baroque tuning, but it's also a kind of warmer sound, And you can imagine if you have this voice flute compared to a modern tenor recorder, it's also very charming. And the difference also between the tenor recorder and the voice flute is that the voice flute is much easier to play in fast pieces. It's not so exhausting like playing on a tenor recorder, exhausting for your fingers and for your breathing, because it's just a little difference between not so big distances for the finger holes, and its response is easier than on a normal tenor recorder. This voice flute was built by Ernst Mayr, a recorder maker from Switzerland. Unfortunately, he does not live anymore. And it is made from boxwood, which is this light yellow wood like this one and this one, but it's colored from the outside. And it's normal that such a recorder gets lighter at the finger holes when you play on it several years. So this is a very beautiful one. But now you will ask yourself, okay, that's nice, but where is it used for? Why should I play perhaps a voice flute, and where is it used for? You can, for example, play the Fantasias of Telemann on it, or the solo for flute from Bach, or French pieces like from Otteter. Many of these pieces you will perhaps already have played on the alto recorder. But did you notice that you play normally on the alto recorder 2 tones higher than the original sound? Because many of these pieces, like the Telemann Fantasias, the Bach Partita, and many or nearly all of the French pieces for flute are not composed for a recorder originally, but for the traverso, which was the flute in the Baroque era, but not from metal, from silver or gold, but from wood. That's the traverso. And for example, the Fantasias of Telemann were composed by him for the traverso. And they were all composed 2 tones lower than we play them on an alto recorder. So if you have your modern score with Telemann Fantasias or with pieces from Otteter or the Bach Partita, it's already written 2 tones higher for you in order to play it on the alto recorder than its original. So, for example, the first Fantasia of Georg Philipp Telemann, we play it in C major on the alto recorder. But originally it's in A major. And that's why we can use a voice flute, a flûte de voix. Then we can play in the original key, and it sounds very nice, of course, because it sounds lower, warmer. And the voice flute has the same range like a traverso. So the lowest note is also the D on a traverso. So we have a big range of pieces which we can play. But now imagine you have a voice flute which its lowest note is a D, and you look at the score of a traverso. So you see, for example, A major, and you are not used to thinking, this is not a C, but this is then A on this flute. So you would have to think. But that's not necessary, because you just can take the normal score for an alto recorder and you play on a voice flute. You imagine you had an alto recorder in your fingers and you just play the normal notes of an alto recorder, and it sounds still then like the original. So I take, for example, the first Fantasia of Telemann. I take the score for an alto recorder, which is in C major, but I take this flute and I just play C major, but it's sounding A major. So that's very easy to do, and many professional players have such a voice flute because it opens a lot of possibilities, kind of variation in a program when you play a whole concert, and then you can do some pieces on an alto recorder, and then for the sound, for the color of the sound, you can take the voice flute for some pieces. So you will ask yourself also, perhaps, do I need this? Of course, you could play on a voice flute on your own, so solo pieces like I mentioned already. And if you want to play together with other people, for example with flute players, then you have to realize that most recorder builders make these flutes only in 415 Hertz. I think that some builders also make voice flutes in 440 Hertz. So if you can have such a one, then you can play together, for example, with modern instruments. This is what I wanted to tell you today about the voice flute. I could imagine that you have further questions, then please write them in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, then give me please a thumbs up, and please don't forget to get an abonnee of my videos, because you know I just started to make them in English because many of you don't like the German videos with the subtitles. And of course I hope that this English channel will grow as fast as the German one. So please help me with it. I hope you enjoyed it, so as I said, and I hope we will see each other next time here on Vera's Recorder channel. Bye!